In this video tech note, I'm going to demonstrate how to encode Zoom videos using the open source video encoding program HandBrake. You can use HandBrake for a variety of tweaks to your video, including making smaller video files. Now you might wonder, why would anyone want to re-encode or transcode video files from Zoom, which are already encoded and generally play very nicely? So like everyone, I use Zoom quite a lot these days, including giving presentations and teaching workshops, which I frequently record. Here, for example, is a video for a workshop I recently taught. This was recorded from Zoom on the cloud, and then I downloaded it. And when you play it in the video player, it's really quite nice. When I look at the file properties, I can see that this video, it's almost 3 hours long, so it's a fairly long recording. It's also quite big, almost a gigabyte. And if I look at the total bit rate at the bottom, I can see that it's a little over 800 kilobits per second. Big video files are pretty normal these days, and they're often not a problem. But there are a few situations we're going to go through where you might want to encode a Zoom recording and reduce the file size with little or no loss in quality. With HandBrake, we're going to be able to reduce this video bitrate to about 240 kilobits per second and reduce the size of this file by a factor of 3. So let's talk about some of the situations where this might be useful. One reason you might want to encode a video from Zoom is simply to adjust the frame size. For presentations and screen shares, a frame resolution which is 1280 by 720 or 720p or 1920 by 1080, also called 1080p, those are pretty decent high-resolution resolutions for presentation content. Sometimes you might get a recording from Zoom which is significantly larger than that, ultra-high definition or a higher level. The resolution of the video you get from Zoom largely depends on the resolution of the monitor of the presenter who is sharing their screen. So you don't always have that control. And you can get anything from these very high resolutions down to more modest resolutions. But I would suggest that the sweet spot for presentation content is going to be 720p or 1080p. You may also want to just trim the video time a little bit. It's quite common that you want to reduce some of the time at the beginning or at the end of the video. You can also take a long video, such as this 3-hour video, and chop it up into smaller pieces. And transcoding programs like like HandBrake do that very well. Another reason you might want to transcode your video is to get the file size a little bit smaller before you upload it to a video platform like Vimeo or YouTube. At a minimum, this might reduce the amount of time it takes to upload and process the video. More significantly, it might allow you to stay within your weekly or annual upload quota. I don't know about YouTube, but I know Vimeo has quotas for how much content you can upload per week and per year. And those quotas are expressed in gigabytes, not in number of minutes. So if you can get your video compressed a little bit more, that can make your quota go further, which could be really useful if you're doing a content or a course and you have lots of stuff you need to upload in a short amount of time. Some video platforms may also have an overall storage quota. So again, getting it as small as optimal will help you make your quota go further. A few other reasons: you might want to self-host your video. So not use Vimeo or YouTube, but put it on your own server. That's not hard to do. HTML5 has tags for playing video files. They work very well. A lot of people do that. You might want to have your video on mobile devices. And what I mean there is not streaming it, but actually have it play from mobile devices. And mobile devices generally have a lot less storage space. So getting it smaller is generally an advantage. You might want to archive a copy, but we all don't want to have ginormous files in our backup systems. So getting an optimal size and resolution might be good there. If you are using a nonlinear editor program like Adobe Premiere or iMovie or Camtasia, you might get a video output which is really big. And that would be another case where it's just way overkill for presentation content. And finally, another reason might be you may have some captions that you want to burn in. So a common workflow would be you have a video, You get the automatic captions either from Zoom generates those, or you can upload it to YouTube and let YouTube generate your captions. But then you might want to just burn those into the video itself, and that's another feature that you can do with HandBrake and similar programs. So HandBrake is an open source video transcoder. It's been around for quite a while. It's well developed, it's well maintained by a small army of volunteers who integrate the latest video compression settings out there. It really is truly, first and foremost, a transcoder. So it can encode from one compression algorithm to another compression algorithm. It does have a handful of video filters, as we will see shortly. Those are not really that useful for screen recorded content. And it does give you some options to trim time from the beginning and the end. Now, that being said, you can't trim time in the middle of the video. It doesn't do that, but you can get it from the beginning and the end, and you can chop up a video by doing that several times. It does not support merging two video files together. Doesn't do that. Doesn't even do simple little overlays like titles. So it's definitely not a non-linear editing program, but what it does very well. So step number one, if you're coming to use this, is to open up your recording from Zoom. And if you do want to trim time from the beginning or the end, simply play your video in your video player. Here I've got this one open in VLC Media Player, and just kind of eyeball the time where you want that video to start and stop. So here, for example, I looked at the video, I played it, and I made the decision I want to chop off the first 4 seconds, so start it at 0004, and I want to end it 2 or 3 minutes early at 2 hours, 48 minutes, and 59 seconds. So just take note of those times. Next, you want to drag and drop the video file into HandBrake. And then there's a series of tabs where you're going to set your compression algorithms. The first thing you'll probably want to do if you are trimming time is to set the range. You can change the first drop-down box from chapters to seconds, and then that will allow you to type in the time codes for the start and stop points. I really like to start with a preset of the compression settings. So one that I might suggest you look at would be under the web category. You can click on that drop-down box for presets, go to web, and then Vimeo YouTube 720 has a good set of presets, and then you can just change some of the settings. And then the first tab shows you kind of a summary of how your settings currently are. So you can check those over. On the dimensions tab, first of all, you want to verify the cropping. HandBrake by default will automatically crop your input content by grabbing randomly some frame captures and then looking for black bars around the edges. And if it sees a black bar on all of the sample frame grabs it captured, it'll assume that content shouldn't be in any of the frames, and it'll crop it out. You can see those setting here. Usually that's fine. Sometimes you have mixed content. Some of your material might be smaller frame size and you do have black bars. Other content might be full screen. So in that case, you might want to set these to 0 manually if you have to do that, if it's cropped it and it wasn't supposed to crop it. The resolution limit, this is where you set basically the output resolution. Again, I would endorse 720p or 1080p for presentation or screen share content. And then you can just double check the output size it's going to create. So here I can see it's 1280 by 694. The reason it's 694 and not 720 is because my input video, for some reason, the input video I got from Zoom was 1920 by 1040. So it kind of came in not full frame. So I'm fine with having the output video not purely 720p, but 694 is fine. If I did want to bump that up to true 720p, I could add borders on the top and bottom. So that's the dimensions tab. On the filters tab, I would turn all of these off. By default, there will be a couple of these deinterlace filters turned on. That's not necessary for screen recorded content. The interlace video is the old kind of TV style video, or maybe sometimes DVDs. That doesn't apply to computer video. So those can all go off. On the video tab, there's some important settings here. Under the video encoder, the one I would recommend is H.265. The default is H.264. but H.265 is a newer one. It takes slightly longer to encode, but you get a better compression ratio for the same level of quality. The frame rate, I would suggest using same as source. The source video from Zoom is 25 frames per second. That's fine. There's no need to keep the default, which I think is 30 frames per second. That's just going to force HandBrake to interpolate some additional frames. That's really not necessary. If you really want to get the size of your video output file as small as possible, you could drop the frame rate down to maybe 15 or 20 frames a second. Might get a tiny bit jerky, but probably not too bad. A good one to look at though for presentation content where a lot of the material is just like slides or screen capture is to set the animation tune. I have found that's a good setting to get the optimal compression ratio for that kind of content. And then the constant quality factor, 22 or 20 are both good ranges for this kind of material. If you do want higher quality for a larger file size, you can make that smaller, or you can increase it for smaller file sizes. But 22 is a pretty good range, and that's what they recommend for that preset. On the audio tab, good settings for speech, and that's what presentations generally are going to be AAC at 80 kilobits per second, downsampled to mono. This will give you good, clear speech. We're not trying to record Mozart here, so that'll work fine for good quality output. And then you're basically done. At this point, you can, if you do have subtitles, a caption file, you could put those there. But you can, at this point, click on the Browse button and pick a place where you want your output video to go, taking note of both the location as well as the file name you give it, and then click Start Encode. And when you do that, you'll see a little progress bar open up down in the bottom, and it'll tell you how much longer you have to wait. So next, let's go ahead and do an actual demo of those settings, and we'll see what it can do with this video. So I'm going to double-click HandBrake. And then the first thing I'm going to do is drag and drop that big video file into HandBrake. And I'm going to type in my time codes for the beginning and end. So I want it to start at 0004 seconds, and then 2 hours, and then I think it was 48 minutes and 59 seconds. So that's what it's going to do. There are some in this video recording, there are some like 5-minute breaks where I didn't pause it. Those will be left in the output video. So if I wanted to get rid of those breaks, I would have to chop this up into several smaller pieces. I'll go ahead and pick a preset for the compression settings. And again, I'm going to I click on the preset drop-down box, go to web, and then go down to Vimeo YouTube 720. And I look on the summary tab, that all looks fine. This is showing us a source of the preview. I don't really worry about those. You do get to set thumbnail images if you're hosting this maybe on YouTube or Vimeo. So I don't use the thumbnail feature within MP4 files. On the dimensions tab, I just double check. It's not doing any cropping. That's good because I know all of this content is full frame. I've set the resolution limit to 720p. I double check the output file size. That all looks good. On the filters tab, I'm going to turn all of these off. I don't need any deinterlacing filters. Doesn't hurt to keep them on. Might just take a slightly bit longer. On the video tab, I will change the video encoder to H.265. You'll see some other H.265 flavors below that. These are all, or at least the last three, are hardware encoders. So depending on what kind of graphics card you have on your computer, you might see some of these. I always use the first one, H.265, which is the software encoder. It takes a little bit longer than a hardware encoder based on my test, but the software encoder allows you to pick the animation tune, which I find to give you really about maybe 10 or 20% higher, more compression. So I find that worth it. Under the frame rate, I'm going to pick same as source. I'm happy with the input 25 frames per second. And then on the constant quality, I'm happy with 22. I could reduce that maybe to 20 for slightly higher quality, but 22 is fine. and then I'll just double check the audio encoding settings. This all looks great. So the next thing I'll probably do is save the file by clicking the Browse button, decide where you want it to go. I'm going to put it in the same folder as the original so I can compare the results. If you do want to see what it's going to look like, you can click this preview button, and that's going to encode about 30 seconds worth. It takes about 30, it just takes a few seconds to encode a minute or so of the video, and it'll open up in your default video player, and you can see how it looks. And if you're not happy with how it looks, you can go back to the video tab and adjust your video settings. And then I just click the Start Encode button. So when I click Start Encode, I look down at the bottom here, and I can see it's started chugging away, and it's telling me it's going to take me about 35 minutes for this video to process. So I'll pause the video, and when it's done, we'll come back and see what it did. Okay, so it finished. So let's take a look at what it did. So you might remember the original file was 0.97 gigabytes and had a total bit rate of 806 kilobits per second. If I look at the file that HandBrake created, the file size is 290 megabytes, so less than a third, and the bit rate is also about a third, 234 kilobits per second. And if I double click the video file that HandBrake created and I preview it, it's looking just fine. Okay, it's good and clear, definitely good enough to share with other people. So that was pretty successful. One thing I would like to note is that once you've come up with a set of compression settings or processing settings, if you'd like to save these as a new preset, just click this Save New Preset button, and then you can reuse them again. And of course, you can always tweak them if you need to. I think when you save a new preset, it certainly does not include the range settings, the time for the start and the end, but all of the other settings for filters and video encoding are going to be saved. So that wraps it up. In summary, HandBrake is a great little utility to make your Zoom videos a whole lot smaller by reducing the resolution and using a compression setting which is more appropriate for presentation content. And the one I would recommend is going to be using H.265 with the animation tune and either 720 or 1080p resolution. So I hope you found that useful, and thanks for watching.